members join the club, and it is essential to us that lesson fees do not connect with their anticipated. Horseback riding lessons are inherently expensive. In our executive board, lessons at our home barn range from $45 to $100 just for one group lesson, with private lessons costing even more. The equestrian club is incredibly fortunate to ride at an overtime farm. As a club, we are charged $375 per person for a block of 10 lessons, which is $37.50 a ride. This price is almost unheard of. Additionally, private lessons, which are necessary for beginners to ensure their safety, are the same price as $37.50 per lesson. Although our barn gives us a great rate for lessons, $375 a semester is still a preventative cost for many students. So the equestrian club depends on SGA allocations for lower cost of participation. In previous years, the allocation has covered 70% of the cost for members to ride once a week, which is $262.50 per ride. With the support, the price that club members need to pay is $112.50. Allocations also cover our show fees for the competitive team, which amounts to $45 per ride per show, with about 6 riders competing in each shows a year, not even including the championships, that totals over $2,000. Last year, when the club was not able to compete because of COVID, our operating costs were almost $15,000. This year, we've already paid $17,625, and that number does not include our show fees. However, we were only allocated $13,000 for this. Because of these budget cuts, we were forced to raise lesson prices to $150 for 10 once-a-week lessons for the next semester. This price increase prevents potential new members from participating in our club, which is completely unacceptable. Usually, the equestrian club offers to cover the lesson price for members if they cannot afford to pay it, although costs have been brought up for years. However, this year, we already have to rely on fundraising money to limit the price increase, so we shouldn't have the same financial freedom to cover lesson. If SGA continues to cut the budget of the club, the future of the equestrian club is at risk. Without new members, our club will collapse, and we won't be able to compete in shows or plan club activities. These results are not exclusive to the equestrian club. Other club sports are facing rising costs and need to implement membership fees for the first time due to SGA budget cuts. This reality is a direct contradiction to the core values of club sports, which offer opportunities for students to try new sports in a supportive and inclusive setting. Members do not need to have years of experience, like you would for many of the NCAA varsity teams on campus. Instead, they can sign up at the involvement camp during their first week on campus and participate as they wish. These opportunities to participate in a club sport provide students with an instant community to support them, which is invaluable for their overall well-being and sense of belonging on campus. New or increased membership dues that would result from the continued decrease of the club sports budget are a huge deterrent for someone interested in trying a sport for the first time or hoping to continue their participation in the club sport. It is elitist and not realistic to assume that all college students can afford to pay these in addition to all the other costs associated with enrollment at St. Mary's. The financial burden of participation will thus discourage new membership for the equestrian club and for all club sports at St. Mary's and prevent students from creating these communities where they feel welcome and accepted. To prevent this, we ask that the SGA provide club sports with their entire requested budget to protect the future of the club. Without this funding, we will not be able to continue to operate for years to come. Thank you for your attention.
So yeah, just a couple of things. As you noted, also I'm Sam, by the way, I'm the treasurer. As you noted, one of the main issues with horseback rides as a hobby is that the cost can be prohibitively expensive. And so the way we have club funding set up right now is that we have $50,000 to give to club sports and $50,000 to give to all clubs. And at the end of last year, when I was going through this with Mary Beth, we had 15 club sports. And of those, equestrian received $13,000 from the SGA, which is more than any other club sport, and also more than any other club by thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And so, there are other club sports that are also more expensive to run, which is why we have to categorize separately. But unfortunately, the nature of the way this works is that we have to balance the financial needs of other clubs, even if they are going to be less expensive than equestrian club. As the largest user of SGA funding, it is difficult for us to give equestrian club all of the money that they have requested, which last year requested was over $21,000,
Yes.
which was 40% of the entire club sports budget, which is really just not feasible and not really fair to the other club sports.
Well, I'm not arguing that, I understand that we have a very high percentage of the club sports cost. I'm arguing that the entire club sports budget should be increased so that not just us, but all of them can benefit. Because they are also facing budget cuts and membership dues. And we know we have a large budget, but it should not be, the burden should not be on others to try and to cover those costs. Because there are so many people that we talk to who would like to that, but they just cannot pay that. And we are one of the most active club sports on campus. We had 25 riders in the fall semester, and have about 21, 22 this semester, who are actively participating in the club, actively taking classes. So it should not be on them to cover those costs.
So then, bringing to the issue of expanding the entire club sports budget, is that budget comes out of student fees, and we have an obligation to the students to not overspend our budget too significantly on year-to-year costs like clubs or club sports. And right now, $50,000 is what we have operated with in the past. There have not been any significant cuts to club sports spending. As far as I'm aware, the total is $50,000. And so that is something that if we would like to, as a Senate, address, that's something that we can do, and we can increase spending. But that would also mean that we would be spending either at a deficit, or we would have to take funds away from other organizations that we have.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can you explain why the funding is split 50-50 and not 70-30, since club sports do actually cost more and often use more of their funds than
that-
other clubs?
Was not a decision that I was around for. That was how the budget was set up when I took over as treasurer. But I can also say
Is that something we could change in the future?
we could, but so this year for SGA funding allocations for normal clubs, not including club sports, we received over $75,000 worth of requests. And so both sides use large amounts of funding.
There's sports even as, I know that club sports usually spend almost all of their money, and I know as a rugby team, I assume questioning too, we spend a lot of our fundraising money to just run our club. I know with this like $700,000 student carryover fund, money in clubs aren't always allocated like the best. So with these other clubs that aren't club sports, there's a high likelihood that they don't spend a lot of the money they request, and then that gets sent over to the carrier. So I was talking to Mary Beth, she said we didn't have good numbers from like the last like 2 years since COVID, and the person who was supposed to before that. But if we could, as a Senate, better allocate funds to club sports in the future, so it's more equitable. Because right now it's fair, but we still keep putting money in that carryover fund. We more equitable.
So, and that is one of the things that we are working on, addressing club funding. But again, clubs do also spend large amounts of money. And so this is the best way that we have figured out right now. Again, if it is up to the to the Senate if we want to spend at a deficit, but what that would require is a lot. And I think that folks deserve a chance to spend, to request enough money for them to spend.
So we're gonna move on with the lost activity, I'm so sorry.
This is very important.
I think we're gonna move on, we have other things to do. I do know Sam and we are working on the budget, and so I'm moving to more meetings, and I'm sure Sam and Mary would love to talk to everyone to figure out the budget and better allocate that we need to move on.
And there's also, sorry, feel free to email me and reach out, and we can sit down and have a meeting.
Yeah, I'm happy to go, we'll just go, but I'm happy to go over all the costs.
Okay.
If any other students wishing to speak out,
Hello, my name is William Fields, he, him, and these are some of my roommates, but we live on the Greens, and I'm not sure, I'll be honest, I haven't come to a lot of speak outs, but I'm not sure this is within the scope of the SGA, but I've talked to my RA, and we had a work order or two that we've had since the beginning of the semester, and she told us that like a lot of people just haven't been filling them. And I'm not sure like why maintenance hasn't been able to address anything, but I don't know if this is like within the SGA's power to kind of ask administration what's going on. But I feel like we pay a pretty substantial amount to live in these houses, and if we aren't getting fixed, it's kind of like what's going on.
to address that, I do know we do not control the fiscal plan or maintenance that whole other entities, that would be considered the Clive's job, but we can advocate for, maintenance, like, to do better. How we would go about that, I'm not sure, but I will bring up the Pennsylvania. Actually, we have an RA with us.
Hi, I'm Alex. May I just ask when your RA said that this work order was put in and for what specifically?
Okay, let me go through. We had a couple, our front door broke probably 2 months ago, so we haven't been able to open that without doing it for a couple
Oh, that's
months.
not good.
The garbage disposal's been at least a month. Our banister broke off, and our sink's been dripping for probably a month, but I just put that in yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I'll give you my email and, if you could just send me your, whatever, greens thing you're at, and I will double check those work orders were put in for you, because sometimes people say they did, but they weren't always, and if not, I will reapply the work orders and I'll call the fiscal plan for you tomorrow to double check that those are fixed.
Okay, thank
So I'll give you my email, and I'll make sure to get that fixed for you.
you. I appreciate it.
Cool. Is that all?
Yeah.
Cool, thank you so much. Any other students before we move on? Gone.
I just have a question. Will you all be able to vote on reallocation of club funds and club sports as well?
That'd be next week. The current budget is being written, the SGA will be voting on the budget next week, right? But I would contact the relate beforehand, so we can, speak for yourself and, see if it can work out,
Do you remember on the budget any total?
Email Sam, and he will handle it, and take care of you.
Yeah.
Oh, but next week you will be voting on the new budget, yes.
Can I still speak out?
Sure.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Quinn Bremholtz. Hey, never been here. I was here with them, but then I had my own agenda. I was wondering about our live music policy. There is no live music allowed out on the greens. And this was a recent policy in our time here. I had two brothers go here, and music used to be a big part of the culture here. And now it's shut down completely. And I was wondering why it's just no exceptions at all. If you try to play music out on the greens, immediately shut down, which is kind of counterintuitive because obviously people are going to have speakers out on the greens. And I'm not necessarily advocating for having speakers out, but no live music in general is a little ridiculous, especially when this school used to be founded with the Greens having live music almost every weekend. They used to bring people together, and now not as much, because you can't at all. So yeah, Hayden, please.
I think we Allison.
Senator Schwartz again, he, him.
How's a name tag?
It's flat though. But yeah, so I wrote a supplemental social policy. It's an abstinence only, it's the counter to an abstinence only policy, which is what St. Mary's has currently. If you've been anywhere in the last 10 years, you know that the abstinence only policy, it doesn't work, it's not safe. We kind of do it. Other schools have it. It's just silly that our campus is doing it the way it is now. Hopefully we get brought up next week. And I'll read you all the Q&A, but I think it's the way to get music on the greens again. So it's a resolution.
Yeah, so I will say that that policy is a red flag policy specifically, so us as SGA can't directly impact it. But what Senator Schwartz was saying, we can put in a resolution to kind of dictate that. If you do have one more questions, once again, feel free to email me, feel free to email Danielle, and we can clarify why the specific rules are in place and what can be done. Thank you.
Before we move on, any more to speak out for everyone? Going once, going twice, gone. New business, we have one legislation, Bill 2288, campus, community farm tractors, accessories, and.
Thanks, guys.
Senator Stevens, you have the floor.
Alright, yes. So, this bill.
Wait, correct. Mind you, before we begin, sorry, I didn't say before we start, this bill is over our limit, so it will be tabled in the vote order next week, just preempt it. We'll be tabled because it's over the house. You may get.
Hi, everyone. Speaking on behalf of Alex, this is Alex and Claire worked a lot on this as well. But basically, this bill is meant to help fund the purchase of a BCS electric start tractor with additional accessories for the Kate Chandler Campus Community Farm. It's one of the main responsibilities of the SGA Environmental Protection Committee to oversee the campus farm, and currently the campus farm does not have a tractor to use at all. The farm is still able to achieve everything it does with the help of students, of course, and some local friends and businesses, but this tractor would be a great and useful tool to have for the farm to do everything it needs to do. So Alex had a lot of info in the Q&A doc, I think, but if any of you guys have any clarifying questions, I'm happy to try that.
Any questions, comments, concerns, Senator Norman?
I only see,
Oh, not in the Q&A?
no, I only see one. No, it's okay. Also, if you can't answer this is okay. Okay. I'm a little concerned about this only because in the Constitution, there's one line about the farm that says the Environmental Protection Committee's job is to oversee the farm essentially and not to fund it. And I worry, like, I'm a little confused as to where, like, funds for the farm in the past have come from. Do you know?
In something that Alex shared with me, he said that the farm operates with no annual budget, managers and advisors of the farm. So advisors of the farm have to apply for various grants. The farm holds fundraisers, which I honestly never really heard of, but now they're getting money for the Kate Chandler, the farm stand.
Okay.
But obviously that's not probably that much. So out of that kind of like a volunteer basis.
Okay.
And like any kind of recreation has to be like that in school. But right now the farm is very good.
Yeah, I just have, I don't know, I feel like there's a huge discrepancy between overseeing media funding, and I don't want like SGA to be the sole funder of the farm in the future. Like especially.
Yeah, I agree. It probably shouldn't be something that comes from student fees, like it should be something.
Yeah, I should. So, thank you.
Senator Nancy?
I kind of agree with Colette, and I'm a little concerned about it. I think for me, one of the things that concerns me most about the farm is that I think it has the opportunity to be, I think it's a really awesome resource for students, but one that should be funded by administration. And I think this has the potential to become a really huge money sink for SGA in a time where we've spent a ton of money over the past 2 years. And it's not, we get like allocations and stuff, but that's not an unlimited pool of funds. And I feel as if it's become like for example, with equestrian coming in, I fully support, funding clubs. I think that's an awesome opportunity. But at the same time, I do fundamentally disagree with giving a club that serves maximum 20 to 30 students, 40% of a club sport budget. That feels wrong to me. Yeah, but anyways, to get back to this point, I don't know if you guys noticed, it was heavily implied to me in the resolution that we passed that SGA would end up paying for that manager position. I see that being the thing that happens. I probably wouldn't be opposed to it. I think it would be a good thing for SGA fund. But I feel like this is strongly veering us onto a path of we pass a lot of things. We pass a lot of things in this SGA. We automatically pass anything that has to do with the guest farm through the SGA. And I feel like there's a lot of organizations that we see now that come across our desks that kind of get an automatic approval pass from us. And I don't necessarily think I think we should be more critical. And I think this is one of those things, I think it would be good for the farm. I think we need to be really critical about how much money we are sinking into one organization on campus across the board. And remember that it's not just a small group of students that we receive our fees from. And it's not even the most involved students that we receive our fees from. It's every single student on this campus. I don't know. That's the thing I have to say about.
At this point, we should be in the SGA farm, to be honest, but. Put in the name.
Megan, you mentioned that Alex said that like the farm is not funding any in the past school grants. I know he's super involved in the farm, but if he's like looking into receiving grant funding, like this semester, last semester, next semester.
I would assume that Alex himself has not. I would reach out to very election, like I can myself if you're still curious. Because he is kind of the liaison right now between the school and
It's like, I personally think this is, like, I'm kind of on board with what everybody else is saying in terms of this being a concern.
Yeah.
But I also, on the other hand, like, totally down to support this. But I also think that a compromise in terms of, like, if, like, you guys could receive some of the degree funding to help support yourselves.
Yeah.
Because, like, right now, I feel like the only direct, like, sustained income you guys are receiving is from the brand new farm stand.
Right.
So, I don't know. That's just like.
That is Alex's SMP.
Yes, it is Allison's. But I think the most important part of this is that in the Constitution, there's nowhere in the Constitution or in our bylaws that states that we're supposed to fund farm. Like, the word is overseen. So I think like we should make that really clear, because if we're practicing what our bylaws and our Constitution says, like one committee as a part of the full SGA is just supposed to oversee and like farm. So I want to take that into consideration.
Yeah, I agree. I think it shouldn't be seen as like we're funding the farm and we are creating like this annual budget. It's more so like this is a really useful tool that they used to have, or they used to use, I think, a community members tracker. And this is a really great opportunity for students to learn how to use it. Claire spoke to, like, she was just having that solo load. She was like a much more good candidate, similar to like, how we code on R or something. So I think this is a step in the right direction to getting more students on the farm, and just like strengthening the environmental studies department as a whole, and getting students and research with agriculture. So that's kind of why I think it could be an SGA, like it's important that it's the SGA, but I understand, like, again, it's all about like the long term, like what does it say for future purchases for the farm? But like I can see this more so a gift from
This might have been a dream I had. It was there, sorry, I do want to like validate. Was there any language in this bill that kind of alluded to the potential creation of like a line item in our budget for the campus farm. I was sitting here and I was like, I remember seeing that, or did I like dream that up?
in this bill.
Oh, no, it's because it came from the operating budget, sorry. The funds come from the operating budget, so I think that's where I got confused. Sorry.
Any more questions on consent table? One. But because this is over, so now we have to table it, so we see you next week. I recommend sending any questions you have to either Classic Society or Senator Stevens. I'm sure that we're more than welcome to answer them for you. Yay. Going on to office reports, President is not here, she's not giving anything to report, so she has a report. I don't have any report, Liz, anything to report?
Yeah, just real quick, Club Fund Appeals closed last night at midnight. And that's it. So now I'm writing the budget. If you have anything you would like to know about the budget for next year or anything that you would like to give me, feel free to email me. And then we'll also be discussing it at next week's meeting. But that's
I'm glad I used this report, but keep it.
I was just gonna ask, is there any way we can like write out the budget or see the budget before the meeting?
Yeah, I'll send it out literally as soon as it's done.
I do have a report. So for those who were here last year, you may or may not remember, I tried to introduce a constitutional convention legislation. No, I don't think that matters. But I have been asked by the incoming administration to reintroduce that because they would like the hefty task to redo the Constitution. Don't know why they want to do that, but you know what, I'm setting us for success. So I already have my 3 senators, co-sponsors to introduce that, but I would love everyone else to be able to look at that. I'll send it to you all, either take, I'm not gonna promise anything. But I will definitely submit it by Thursday, so please, if you have any questions, please email me. Everything should be very straightforward. I'm trying making it as, clean as possible, as many, check and balances as possible, so I will send that out and I'll also submit it. Please let me know if you have any questions. But keep in mind, this is the upcoming administration, not this one more week. I'll send that out and please give me feedback. I really want this to pass so they can start working on fixing the Constitution and the bylaws. That's all I have. Part-time really anything to work.
The only thing I have, well, I guess 2 things. The first thing is that, the ballots are going out at 8 a.m. for the current election cycle. So please tell your constituents about that. The ballots will close, 8 a.m. The following Friday, so the following Friday. It's not really my responsibility, but something that I think the Senate should do, just like making sure to talk to your constituents about the upcoming bill, ask their opinions about it. Again, that's not really my responsibility, but I think it's something that is definitely going to be important because the bill will be voted on next time. So that's just my 2 cents, and that's all I have.
Thank you, Director. Parking report. Here, Coordinator Clay, in the report. Cool. Something minor in your report.
I have one thing, the jazz band concert this Thursday, 8 p.m. Monty 25, come by. I'll be a good time.
Director Jamie, anything to report? Of course you do. You're here.
No, I have just a few things. I just sent everyone an email that kind of outlines everything I'm gonna talk about. So yeah, I just wanted to start by talking about the events from this past weekend. So. Okay. So, starting with the concert on Friday, I just want to give some stats about how many people can participate and whatnot. So we had 12 student groups show up to the showcase, which was awesome. They were all pretty good. We sold total 513 student tickets and 150 guest tickets, so 663 tickets total that we sold for the concert. According to our records, 555 people attended. That's not accounting for any names that we might have missed or anything like that. I know some people had trouble getting guests on campus because there was an accident on the bridge or something like that. I heard that from a few people. So that might have been anything for that. But overall, I thought pretty good attendance. I was impressed. And then just from what I've heard, just in conversation with people, I've heard generally good feedback. Obviously, we had a couple of hiccups throughout the day. But overall, pretty good review. I think a lot of people were pleasantly surprised, especially with it being the art. But if anyone has specific feedback or ideas for things that could be done differently in the future, assuming that this could be another future project for another group of students, feel free to let me know. I will document all that stuff and put it in our Google Drive so that we can reference it in the future. And then as far as activists, I just want to say thank you to a couple of people who helped us out. So Emma for helping set up the showcase details, that was really greatly appreciated. Kayla Sherby, who's not here, but Kayla was involved in helping out the day of, just with general volunteering. Sam for helping us write the bill back in November. And then, of course, Alex, who I know is also not here, Claire, Dylan, and Kayla for their work on the concert committee. That was all really appreciated. And then also just thank you to all of you for funding the bill. I know probably back when we proposed it, it seemed a little bit unrealistic. But I'm really happy that we were delivering a concert, especially because it's always been the most requested event by students. Whenever we ask what students want to see, they always say a live music and concert. So I was a little bit intimidated, and I think everyone else in the concert committee was pretty intimidated as well, but with the support of all of you and Andre and Derek and our other campus partners, like the ARC staff and public safety, we were able to pull it off. So I just wanted to say thanks generally for putting your trust in us and giving us the funds to kind of pull it off. And if anyone is interested in probably planning something in the future and has questions for me or wants to talk about how to keep the community going, I'd be happy to be a part of that. So just shoot me an email and let me know. And then as far as World Carnival goes, it's our biggest PD event all year, so thanks to everyone who I saw. I saw a lot of your faces out there that day, so that's awesome. We checked in 368 students, which I think is pretty good, and that doesn't include non-students or anyone who just skipped check-in and went to the events and whatnot, so that was pretty successful. And then I have two things just from the Alumni Relations Department. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm also an intern for them, so I do work for them as well. But upcoming this month, we're doing database service days. So for anyone who doesn't know, that's an event that Alumni Relations does every year. The spirit of it is really just to encourage as many alumni and students as possible to get involved with some kind of volunteer work in their community. So part of my job is to set up different projects across the country and get the different alumni chapters involved. And this year we have 2 projects on campus. Historically, those projects have been a big draw for clubs who need to fulfill their service requirement. I know that's not a thing this year, but anyone who's a club or any club that you're a part of is looking to maybe get involved in that way, you definitely still can. So I just want to bring it to everyone's attention. So we have 2 projects this year on or around campus. The first one is with the St. Mary's River Watershed Association, which that project is being led by John Spinacchia. If anyone knows him, he is one of the lab coordinators at the biology department. And that's going to be helping to create oyster cages that will sustain the oyster populations in the St. Mary's River, which is generally good for the ecosystem. I think that should be pretty fun. It'll be outdoors, it'll be, a nice time. And then our second project is the Gate Chandler Farm, which is Professor Mushnick is helping us out with that. And that'll just be whatever tasks will be done that day. And those are both on Saturday the 23rd, which I know is the day of Bottom County, but I promise it's before Bottom County, so it'll be done for them. So if anyone is looking for anything to do with their club or possibly an individual, you can sign up at the link I included in my email. And anyone who wants to make their club involved. Generally, just shoot me an email and let me know, and I can get you all registered, and there's free t-shirts and pizza for anyone who does it, and I think it should actually be fun. And then the last thing I have is that we are also still hiring student workers for alumni weekend. You must be a current student to work that, you can't be graduating. And you get $12.50 an hour for 40 hours and 3,000 views. I think it's a big deal, especially because when the weather's nice down here. I've never worked it. I know Caleb has. It was fun.
It was a lot of fun, actually. You should try and sign up to be the band driver, though. That's fun. You hear a lot of crazy stuff from these people in a fun, and they like to tip you.
But yeah, fun opportunity. I just wanted to plug that because I know they're kind of struggling to hire this year. So if anyone is underclassmen or knows any underclassmen who might want to something like, and get a decent amount of money, I think for a week. I attached the flyer to that, and it says that it closes April 10th, but it's not still on there. So if you're interested, feel free to reply. If your friends are interested, feel free to reply. And yeah, you can let me know if you're interested after that.
Fun fact, I actually used Young Green concert in my computer this morning off of the Code Center. So I did really well. I'm very impressed that I was that. Yeah, for helping. So moving on to representative reports, Representative Drum, anything to report? Nope. Thank you all. Representative Webster, anything to report?
The new VP Rivera's, is starting virtually next week, will be on campus May 1st. And he'll be working in the leadership lab of the campus center, so if you to be more around students, so if you want to say hi and meet him, you do that.
I'm scared of discussing.
Curious to report anything to report, Senate reports.
I'm working on a bill for a new wrestling mat that will probably have to go in first thing next semester because like money bills and whatnot. But be on the lookout for it. Wrestling club's been suspended 5 times because they don't have a mat. Can't practice without a wrestling mat. Can't swim without a pool. That type of deal. And then also I'm having a resolution that might be able to get brought up next week, but be on the lookout. Hopefully it'll make the college a lot safer by using like a harm reduction policy and student groups. So I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you very much. Give me a report. Yes, that's massive.
I don't know if this is a report. Can I just like say my piece? For like 1 minute. Okay. I just think, okay, I'm graduating. Yeah, no. Well, no, I just think we have a really young Senate, in a lot of ways, excluding like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but like townhouses, they're always gonna graduate. I think as a new senator, I was afraid to like speak up, and I was afraid to be like contrary to stuff because I wanted everything passed. I was like, everything that comes through is gonna be good. And if it was like a good organization and something I supported, I was like, I always wanted to pass. And I feel like I don't want to like leave with an SGA that'll just pass everything that comes across. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think today is a really good example. Like, I think both of everything we heard today is something that like a student, you could come in and you could look at it and be like, objectively, this is good for everybody I want it to pass, but we can't pass everything. And if you pass everything, then something's going to come along down the line that really should be funded, and we won't be able to, or we should support be able to, for whatever reason. And this includes like everything, like even like club constitutions. Like what we saw today is a prime example of why we need to be critical with clubs. If we have too many clubs, that funding can't go to everybody, it can't go equally. And you're gonna end up, if you have like 500 clubs and $50,000, each club is only gonna be able to get $100. And that's just, that, you can't do anything with that. So we need to be critical. And I just, next week's last SGA meeting, I've been in SGA since my freshman year. I have a lot of opinions, and I think SGA has helped me develop opinions. And I want you guys to have this that same experience. And I think you should all rejoin SGA because I think you all are really valuable members. And I hope you're all running for re-election. And I think I'm allowed to vote as a senior, right? I'll vote for any name I recognize. Yeah, vote for juniors, big time. Anyways, I think you guys like a parting thing, or I promise I'll be silent next meeting. I know everyone's itching for that, especially Dylan. But yeah, I think you guys have opinions and I want to hear them. And maybe once in a while I'll tune into the live stream next year and be like, how if your voices are being heard? Okay, that's it.
I guess, anyone else is Bryce in my piece? So I will not be here next week. I have a tech week for the musical, and so we're trying to move Sendai to the banquet so that I can do it. But I really want everyone who's coming back to come back, who's not graduating to come back. I think Emily and Alex are the most experienced SGA possible, and that's why I have the people come back. Look at you, Megan. But I'm so proud of this SGA. We have survived the toxicity and nonstop from last year. My God, that was awful. And I thank everyone for being respectful to everyone as much as possible and not making these hell long and unbearable. And I hope for the best for the administration. I really do. If you need anything, call me. I'm like, you both have my number. I'll just be in the city. It's fine. So I want to be here next week, but I hope for the best everyone has to be that's the thing. But also, I don't care. The SGA has won the St. Mary's Award for our contribution to the campus life. As an SGA. Me, Aaron, and Pete Fala are going to go and accept that award at the awards ceremony, I think, next week. So thank you all your contributions. We have been recognized as full for everything that we do, and we keep it up for everyone who's still here and not graduating. So yeah, anyone else before we turn to, I guess, maybe wrap up that. Any more announcements? Everyone's very quiet. Gone. Have a motion to adjourn the committee wrap up.
Second.
Second.
I closed the meeting at 9:02.
Let me just pack up this stuff real quick, y'all.